Sims with real personalities. And the stories you'll tell about these Sims will be entertaining, meaningful, and sometimes a little weird. These new smarter Sims are full of personality and humor. And the possibilities when you play with life are simply endless. The possibilities when you play with life are simply endless.
It's 2014 and the Sims community is eager and more than ready to find out what the new next chapter of this franchise has in store for them. New, smarter Sims for unhinged and dramatic storytelling. The comment section on the Sims announcements is very supportive, excited, and more than happy to finally experience the next generation of Sims, with the fourth chapter to the most famous life simulation video game ever created. Expectations are high, players are delighted to discover the updated Create a Sim section that will let them mold their subject completely to achieve the dream of creating accurate copies of themselves and their family and friends. Build and buy mode has never looked better, with a clean, easy-to-use interface that will even let players add foundations after they've built an entire home. Plus, pre-made styles to easily decorate rooms and set up the perfect scenario for their weird, over-the-top, dramatic stories. Oh man, how naive of us to not foresee what would come next. Throughout a full decade of bugs, problematic releases, we will learn to navigate a love and hate relationship we never really asked for. Queens, kings, and everyone in between, allow me to welcome you to the Drama House. I am your host, Lady Drama, and today I'll gladly double as your fabulous guide into a 10 years long journey with The Sims 4. We'll open the emerald vault of memories, trying to keep our plum bobs as green as possible while we walk through the years 2014 to 2024. Hopefully, we'll keep our festive spirit alive as we browse the several The Sims 4 titles that have kept us entertained or bored and disappointed, you will tell me, as we try making some sense out of the game's history to answer the one question: has The Sims 4, during its very long run, proved itself to be a game worth of our time and money? It's the summer of 2013 and the latest The Sims franchise title, The Sims 3, is reaching its final act with one last expansion pack announced and set to release by the end of the year. Sims players have been enjoying The Sims 3 for 4 years now. Obviously, only those who actually managed to enjoy it, as The Sims 3 was very well known to be heavy on our poor computers and filled with packs and features that enriched the gameplay, but also made loading time longer than expected. With a total of 9 expansion packs and 11 stuff packs that wrapped up The Sims 3, Simmers were getting excited to hear and see more about the new generation of Sims. And let's be clear, the arrival of The Sims 4 was not a major shocker to players because until now, Sims games were given a lifespan of more or less 4 years, with The Sims 2 lasting from 2004 to 2008 and The Sims 3 lasting from 2009 until September 2014. During the 2013 Gamescom press reference, Maxis VP and executive producer Rachel Franklin walked fans through a sneak peek of The Sims 4. She spoke about new emotions, new smarts, new Sims for The Sims 4. She mentioned how playing The Sims 4 would be just like being the director of a movie.
And as the director, my first act was to envision the stage where the story unfolds. In The Sims 4, we've reinvented our creative tools to be intuitive, powerful, and flexible. It's easier and faster for me to create exactly the home that I want. So I've built my set, and now it's time to cast my actors. With our new Create a Sim, I can reach directly into the game and sculpt my Sims by hand. So now that you've seen our new creative tools, let me show you how playing with these new Sims and their emotions, which for the first time you control, will fundamentally change the experience that you have in The Sims 4.
She also mentioned how 1 year before the release date, you could already pre-order The Sims 4 just based on her words and a little highly edited trailer, I guess. Talking about feeling confident, right?
I've got him feeling confident, but I'm gonna make him earn this one.
But mind you, the reaction to this preview was generally good. Some simmers were worried about the graphics, not really liking the cartoon approach, especially because everyone who could was still playing The Sims 3, which had pivoted towards more of a realistic art style, and that's why many players look at these Sims 4 characters and were reminded of The Sims 2, and they pointed their finger at EA saying, "I feel like we're going back in time." Huh, honey, if only we had gotten back to The Sims 2. Cartoon style aside, the response to what we knew of The Sims 4 was positive, and players felt excited to discover this new world of emotion. As emotions seem to be the very key word for this new game, being the aspect that made these new Sims more human and realistic. People were wondering if custom content and mods would be allowed, and to what depth would the sculpting feature in Create a Sim go. Nobody was really worried about getting vehicles or toddlers, because those were something we already had in The Sims 3 and in The Sims 2. And until The Sims 4 was actually released, nobody really told us about what would be or would not be present in the actual base game. Rise and shine, baby girl. It's 2014 and it's the year I turned 20. Let's take a moment of silence for my youth, please. In the months prior to The Sims 4 release, set to come out on September the 2nd, EA is clearly invested in providing additional details on this new chapter to the even more invested Sims players that just can't wait to open up the fourth, newer, smarter, emotional game of the franchise. But hold on, is EA actually that invested in showcasing what's new with The Sims 4? Well, let's say that in hindsight, they could have done a better job at teasing The Sims 4. Because just by looking at the teasers and the trailers shared by EA, we're not really getting much from them. Sure, we did get a quick showcase into the new Create a Sim and its brilliant molding features, which are definitely a step forward compared to The Sims 3. And Build and Buy does look impressive, very user-friendly and able to provide countless possibilities to bring to life potentially any type of build or design. Some users, however, are already picking up some important factors that are clearly lacking or missing completely. It's obvious that there is no recoloring tool or design tool as it was called in The Sims 3, and it's also evident that the traits we get to see as chosen in The Sims 4 Create a Sim are merely 3, with an apparent limited reach when it comes to The Sims personalities and stories. The team is putting a lot of emphasis on the fact that we can now pick the way Sims walk, but they are loosely relating that to the Sims personality and character, which, as we'll find out later, is not true. Another major component they are adding is the storytelling factor. Prior to the game release, the team dropped a sequence of mini trailers to highlight the countless type of quirky stories you can come up with when playing The Sims 4. To be fair, these mini trailers definitely have that kind of Sims weird and random vibe that in 2014 we would expect a Sims game to have. The comeback of the iconic cow plant, or the weird possibility to have a sim obsessed with sculpting wood. Again, the keywords for The Sims 4 gameplay on a pre-release stage are weird stories, smarter sims, and emotions. On June 2014, we have once again Rachel Franklin walking fans through another Sims 4 reveal with the gameplay reveal during E3 2014. From smarter Sims with bigger personalities to the ability to share your household and families with other players with the new gallery, The Sims 4 is full of life, humor, and weirdness. The presentation gives a very loose overlook on how emotions impact the gameplay, and it even shows a sim dying of laughter. Although there's no information on how the different world maps are built, or not even a preview on the user interface, I feel it's important to highlight how positive the reaction is. Again, there's a bit of chatter about the art style not being realistic. However, many simmers are noticing how detailed Sims expressions are and seem excited about this new emotion system, hoping it will actually make the characters more alive and the gameplay even deeper than what we already have with The Sims 3. There's hope for the new neighborhoods to be lively and vibrant. There's excitement for the Grim Reaper, who now has a tablet. And, well, let's get to the game release and see how it went. On September 2nd, 2014, The Sims 4 is deemed ready to go and to be purchased with a very demure price tag of $59.99 in the United States and a digital deluxe edition available, which included extra content like items and digital soundtracks, priced at $69.99. The base game shipped with 2 available neighborhoods or worlds to play in, Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. None of these worlds was a so-called open world, which is the way maps are loaded in The Sims 3, meaning that in The Sims 4, to move from one lot to another, players would have to pass through a loading screen. Also, the game remarkably shipped without the possibility to add swimming pools and without the possibility to play with toddlers, meaning newborn babies would just age into standing and talking children. The world maps seemed sized down compared to The Sims 3, and they felt even smaller when moving from point A to point B of town required a loading screen, which wouldn't even be anticipated by a taxi animation, but just happen after we would watch our sim disappear. Sure, Sims could now multitask so they could talk while watching TV and interact while eating a meal, but as Kelly Plage writes in her 2014 review of the game, transitioning from The Sims 3 to The Sims 4 is a little rough. The Sims 4 seems barren of content and features by comparison, especially with regard to the severely limited scope of the world and frequent but much shorter loading screens and noticeable absence of toddlers, pools, and cars. It's not so much that Maxis didn't recreate all the same features, but rather that there aren't enough cool new things to replace what's missing. A game update with pools will arrive 1 month after The Sims 4 initial release, but when it comes to the other remarkable absentees, we will have to wait way longer. I mean, for all that matters, we're still waiting for cars. And toddlers, believe it or not, but those will only arrive almost 3 years after the base game release in January 2017. So, before we move on to the next years and dive deep into each year's titles and new features to reach today, The Sims 4 10th anniversary, I feel it's important to pause for a second and try answering the question many simmers had when the game was first released with such big absences and lack of important features. Why did the game feel like such an empty shell of what could have been? A shell that just simply couldn't compare with the amount of options previous titles had provided players with. Yeah, I feel it's time we talk about her, Project Olympus. Project Olympus was the initial code name for what eventually became The Sims 4. Initially, the project was conceived as a multiplayer successor to The Sims Online and was heavily influenced by EA's push towards social and online gaming. The project began around 2008, just as The Sims 3 was being released and was under development for several years. The core idea behind Project Olympus was to create a multiplayer version of The Sims where players could interact with each other in a shared online space, echoing the ambitions of The Sims Online. This version of the game featured a modified version of The Sims 3 engine and included planned features like player chat, group chat, and other multiplayer interactions. However, by 2012, due to various factors including the failure of other online-centric games like SimCity, EA decided to roll the project back to a single-player experience. When The Sims 4 was officially announced in 2013, most of the online components that were part of Project Olympus had been scrapped. The game was rebranded and restructured into the offline, single-player experience that we know today. However, traces of the original online features still exist within the game's code, reflecting its early development as a multiplayer title. This shift also explains why The Sims 4 launched with less content compared to its predecessors, as the development team had to refocus their efforts late in the development cycle. The need to meet deadlines left the development team with limited time to add or refine features that are staples of the Sims series. That's why key features like toddlers, swimming pools, and certain career options were missing at launch. The game engine and overall design initially built for multiplayer were not fully optimized for a rich single-player experience. The shift back to single-player meant the game had to be readjusted within the constraints of a system originally designed for a different purpose. This contributed to the absence of features like open-world gameplay, which, as we mentioned, was present in The Sims 3, as well as a reduction in the complexity of the life simulation aspects that fans expected. I think we need to keep in mind this important detail that kind of flaws the foundations of the game from the beginning, giving the Sims engine and coding a huge handicap, which is the game was rushed and not optimized for what it actually is, having been originally built as something else. Because the initial intentions of The Sims 4 skeleton will continue to have an impact on the game's performance, even today, 1 decade after the official release and almost 20 years after Project Olympus' creation. So, keeping this in consideration, I say, let's jump back to our timeline and see what was going on with The Sims 4 in 2015, the year following the game's controversial release, but also the year of the golden or blue dress debate. I still see it golden and white. Are there any psychos in the audience that see it blue and black? Let me know in the comments. On January 2015, EA was more than ready for us to get to know a new type of content pack called Game Packs. You see, with The Sims 3, we only experienced expansion packs and stuff packs set at different price ranges with different scopes, and expansion packs would include major additions to the gameplay plus items, hairstyle, and clothing and accessories based on the expansion pack theme, while stuff pack focused on, well, stuff only. But now, with The Sims 4 Outdoor Retreat, Sims players were meeting a new concept. A little bit less than an expansion pack and a little bit more than a stuff pack, both content-wise and price-wise. Marketed at $19.99, the pack brought just enough additional gameplay with a new vacation world and new gameplay features, but not enough fleshed out content to be considered a proper expansion pack. But hey, for simmers who wondered, where are my expansion packs at? EA was ready to answer as Get to Work was released on March and Get Together closed the year on December 2015. Yeah, there seemed to be a trend with the Get to Something titles, but to be fair, these first expansion packs are still considered amongst the least buggy within the community, with the world of Winterberg that shipped with Get Together remaining a fan favorite still today in 2024. Both expansion packs were priced at $39.99 upon release, and although they both came with a new world, Get to Work New World Magnolia Promenade, a small commercial neighborhood featuring 4 lots, is hardly considered an actual playable world. Talking about new worlds, however, on June 2015, EA gifted The Sims 4 players with a new, free, empty world called Newcrest, available upon simply updating the game. I know the way this sounds is very bad, like here's EA giving players an empty world. But if you know, you know, it is the choice of many to go and play in a completely empty world, as it means we can customize it however we prefer, and I do think it was a smart move to include it, especially because The Sims 4 is the only game since The Sims 2 that doesn't include a create a neighborhood feature where players can create their own space from scratch, deciding every aspect of the map, so I guess Newcrest is kind of the alternative to the lack of this important tool. Now, if you didn't have $19.99 or $39.99 for new Sims content, EA got you covered, boo, as they did release 4 stuff packs in 2015, all available for only $9.99. Again, stuff packs bring stuff only, some of which with some additional gameplay features like perfect patio having a hot tub or cool kitchen with the ice cream maker. But that's about it. Honorable mention for the year goes to the second game pack released on July 2015 called Spa Day, a concept so interesting with such a bad execution that it will need a pack refresh, a refresh that will only come 6 years later in 2021. Total spent on this year if you purchased all the titles upon release, $159.92. After such a busy 2015, EA decided to have us potentially spend a little bit less money as they tuned down both the expansion and game packs releases with only one for each category. City Living, the one and only expansion pack of 2016, was released on November and added the urban touch many players were waiting for. Now, could you live in a typical city apartment? Yes. Could you build an apartment complex from scratch? Absolutely not. Despite the disappointment for this lacking feature and for the loading screen you have to go through if you're visiting a fellow neighbor's apartment, City Living was deemed overall a good expansion pack. It came with its own lore, a touch of mystery, different city festivals and activities, and 4 different neighborhoods with different styles to accommodate different gameplay types. But you may wonder, isn't dining out a key part of living in the city and the different activities you can perform there? Well, don't worry, because on June 2016, EA already had you covered with the release of one of the most infamous game packs in The Sims 4 history, Dine Out. The concept is pretty straightforward. The new lot type that allows you to have your Sims go out for a meal and sit through the entire experience, plus the possibility to own and manage your own location and customize your food and drinks menu and the staff uniform. Unfortunately though, this pack remains to date one of the buggiest in the entire franchise. Sure, it was now possible to dine out, but it was and still is a complete nightmare to do so. Both on the giving and receiving end of the experience, players are still waiting for the day in which the gameplay will be bug-free and Sims will actually sit and wait to order and receive their food. Also, why do Sims need to spend hours at the restaurant just to complete a meal, resulting in their needs to decrease in such a dramatic way you might faint or pee yourself while waiting for the bill? We're still waiting for a pack refresh on this one. But in case you needed more stuff in your game, in 2016, EA released just a couple of stuff packs, 5 of them actually, including a stuff pack called Kids Room, which always makes me giggle considering that in 2016 we still didn't have any toddler life stage. Grand total spent, if you purchased all the titles that came out this year, 109.93. Alright, enough complaining about the toddler absence, cause on January 2017 we finally received the game update that gave us the toddler life stage, and of course EA couldn't miss the chance to give us a dedicated stuff pack called Toddler Stuff Pack on August of the same year. Additionally, on May 2017, we also got a so-awaited game pack, no, it's not seasons, called Parenthood. This game pack was meant to focus on family relationships with the introduction of key features such as the parenting skill, a character value system that tracks the development of 5 character values in children and teens, school projects and family activities, plus customizable parenting style. Many Sims players compared Parenthood to the beloved Sims 3 expansion pack called Generations, but under this comparison, it's clear that Parenthood is just not enough, also being just a game pack and not an expansion pack like Generations was. But little did we know, 6 years later, in 2023, we would get an actual expansion pack on the exact same topics. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Vampires was the actual first game pack of 2017, finally bringing occult Sims to the game. I mean, not really occult, just vampires. The game pack also included a new world, Forgotten Hollow. This world is unique to other worlds in The Sims 4 because nighttime lasts much longer here, meaning vampires can stay out longer without the risk of being exposed to sunlight. Vampires have their own panel to gain and upgrade new abilities that make them more powerful. There are a total of 25 powers divided evenly, 5 per each vampire rank, with several powers having their own tiers. Vampires was also the first game pack that got released for the console version of The Sims 4. 2 pretty impressive game packs for the year, right? But if you're wondering about the expansion packs for 2017, on November we got one and one only. Cats and dogs. Yeah, it sounds even funny to pronounce this, as the Sims community was always used to this type of expansion being named pets and shipping with a wider look at the animal world and more specifically the animals Sims could interact with. For instance, the equivalent to this pack in The Sims 3 included cats, dogs, horses, snakes, turtles, birds, rodents, lizards, deer and raccoons. The Sims 4 Cats and Dogs instead gave us, well, cats and dogs and the new world of Brindleton Bay. To be fair, the pack does include foxes and raccoons, but they make a very limited appearance. Cats and Dogs also brought the vet clinic lot type together with the vet career, which can't be chosen as a standard career path but only as a skill branch that can be performed at home or at a vet clinic, if your Sims have the funds to afford to buy one. 3 stuff packs wrapped up 2017 with the mentioned toddler stuff released on August, bowling night on March and fitness stuff on June. So how much have we spent in 2017? If we had purchased all these titles, 109.94. But hey, at least this is the year we got Toddlers for free, right? Now, as per the usual The Sims game's timeline, this should be the year in which The Sims 4 starts getting wrapped up and a new chapter is announced to be in the making. But weirdly enough, spaghetti-coated Sims 4 over here seems to be just beginning. February 2018 surprises us with a new game pack called Jungle Adventure. Jungle Adventure shipped with a new vacation-based world named Selva Dorada, where Sims can develop their Salvadoradian culture skill and experience the Latin world. Sims can also go out in the jungle to pass across large landscapes, developing their archaeology skill. Jungle Adventure seemed to be so big, kind of echoing the success of The Sims 3 World Adventure expansion pack, that several players reported the jungle caused performance issues due to the larger size and detail of the world. EA silently addressed this in the following patch, which permanently changed the texture resolution for the entire game in an attempt to combat the lag experienced by players on lower-end devices. But if EA seemed to have given too much with the one game pack for the year, they surely gave us nothing with their stuff packs, namely Laundry Day on January and My First Pet Stuff on March. Honestly, Laundry Day could have easily been a free game update that introduced the possibility to wash and dry, well, laundry. And My First Pet Stuff, well, it should have 100% been part of cats and dogs. Not only because it included clothing and accessory for them, but also because it added the possibility to adopt all new small pets like a hamster, rat, pygmy hedgehog, or miniature Bobolus. The arrival of this stuff pack created some tension in the community, as this is the first downloadable pack in the Sims series to officially require another pack to unlock all items in addition to the base game. Many fans have negatively criticized this move, stating that the content in the pack should have been included in Cats and Dogs or a free update. After surviving the criticism for My First Pet Stuff pack, EA proceeded to end up the year with 2 new expansion packs, and 2 very important ones, I may say. Seasons was released on June and Get Famous on November. How did we get something like Outdoor Retreat or Backyard Stuff pack before Seasons? I really don't know. It's kind of crazy to me that Seasons was the 5th expansion pack for The Sims 4, since by now many players were expecting weather to be part of the base game, but here we are. Seasons for The Sims 4 is considered a pretty good expansion pack, as it brought the so beloved calendar feature that not only has pre-made festivities with customizable objectives, but it also allows you to set your own calendar for your save file, including diversified types of activities to make potentially any type of holiday you want. But if you were looking for an expansion pack that adds a new world in 2018, you had to get Famous. Sims can now explore the brand new world of Del Sol Valley, a sort of Los Angeles look-alike, where they can meet up with the famous locals and join the acting career to become rich and famous. Sims can also become famous for various other things, such as singing, writing, painting, or cooking. Starting 2018 with some bad rap, The Sims 4 surely ended it on a more positive note with 2 beloved expansion packs. But if you're wondering about the grand total spent this year on all the packs that were released, it's 119.95. "2019 opened with a great present from EA, which is the unforgettable nightmare we got from the first game pack of the year, Strangerville. Strangerville is the first story-based content pack in the main The Sims series. It's also the first game pack to include a new career. All previous careers came in either the base game or expansion packs. When the player first loads the town of Strangerville, some town locals are clearly infected with a mysterious illness, a possessed emotion, a strange walk style, and talking gibberish about the mother plant. Many players at the time caught the references to The Sims 2 Strange Town both in the world, art style, and in the mother plant plot that seemed to refer to Belagoth. However, the mystery storyline and the mother plant appear to be inspired by the US thriller Netflix series Stranger Things, particularly from the first season. Strangerville was definitely a weird and kind of out-of-the-box game pack for the franchise, and maybe that's why EA gave the community a few months to recover from its release, as the next one would be Island Living, an expansion pack that became available only in June of the same year. This expansion pack also shipped with the new world and new gameplay, including a new, very awaited occult type, mermaids. Alongside mermaids, Sims can befriend dolphins while swimming in the ocean, or get to know the locals who have various traditions such as the Fire Festival, and can teach them more about their folklore stories. A conservationist career is also introduced, along with lifeguard, diver, and fisherman part-time jobs. Mermaids have similar needs to normal Sims, but replace the hygiene need with a new need, hydration. To maintain this need, a mermaid can go swimming, shower, bathe, or take a drink of water. In exchange for this restriction, mermaids can influence the moods and actions of other Sims with various siren songs. While swimming in the ocean, mermaids can also summon an azure dolphin. And that's it about mermaids? Not really much more depth to be found in this new occult type. But girl, 2019 was a bit of a conceptual mess, as the next release for the year was a stuff pack made in collaboration with high fashion brand Moschino, followed by the Realm of Magic game pack and the Discover University expansion pack. The Sims team pipeline seems a bit all over the place for 2019. Realm of Magic focuses on, you guessed it, magic, and it includes a new life state, Spellcasters. The pack includes a new world named Glimmerbrook, a residential mountains forest world. It also features a portal into a separate floating fantasy-like neighborhood, the Magic Realm, where magic NPCs live. In this world, you can go to shops to buy brooms, magic books, and new wands. Spellcasters are largely similar to witches from previous games in that they can learn magic spells and brew potions. Similar to vampires in The Sims 4, spellcasters have a variety of skills and abilities they can unlock as they progress through a rank system. They're also the first occult in The Sims 4 to not have a secondary form. As for the last pack of the year, Discover University, this expansion is the descendant to all the previous university-related packs from The Sims 3 and The Sims 2, with the pleasant difference of being able to enroll and go through the university path at any life stage and from anywhere. Although the pack does ship with the University World of Brightchester, any Sim can enroll to university and go to classes from their own home, regardless of which world they live in. When it's time to go to classes, Sims will just disappear to go and attend without the need to actually travel to campus. Total spent for this year, if we had purchased all of these packs on release, 129.95. By the end of 2019, many Sims players have thought we were reaching the end of this chapter, considering the life of The Sims 4 was now finishing its 5th year, one more than The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. And also, by now we had received, even if in a not so in-depth form, the majority of big features we were used to play with in a Sim game: weather, pets, university, vacations, occult. But rumors of a possible The Sims 5 were nowhere to be heard, and the 20s were knocking on the door. How ironic is it that in January 2020, The Sims 4 released a stuff pack called Tiny Living, almost as an anticipation to the tiny living we were going to experience just a few months later due to the tragic COVID lockdowns. This year's expansion packs, however, got us to travel around as Eco Lifestyle was released on June and Snowy Escape on November. Sure, we were only traveling in The Sims, but that's also one of the great aspects of a life simulation game, right? Eco Lifestyle centers on the world's eco footprint, affecting worlds and their residents for better or for worse with the help of neighborhood action plans. Eco-friendly living returns with included features such as sustainable living, renewable energy, crafting, and community projects. It also includes the new coastal world of Evergreen Arbor. This pack also brings back apartments similar to those in City Living, although once again, it's not like you can build apartments from scratch. This expansion pack reception was pretty mild, as many felt it included many recycled pieces of content, pun intended, and wasn't bringing anything that justified the expansion pack price tag. Snowy Escape, on the other hand, got a pretty positive welcome, as it did feel like a new, vibrant concept that luckily was not boxed into a vacation world, but actually shipped with a bigger and prettier world map. This expansion centers around activities such as snowboarding, skiing, sledding, and mountain climbing. It includes Mount Komorebi, a snowy, Japanese-inspired mountainous world featuring new types of weather. Owning The Sims 4 Seasons is not required to play the pack. Snowy Escape also features a new game mechanic called Lifestyles. These work similarly to traits, however they are acquired through normal gameplay by exhibiting certain behaviors. Lifestyle traits give Sims various emotions or gameplay elements that provide more in-depth personalities for Sims. Lifestyles will have to be maintained, otherwise they will be lost or replaced with another lifestyle trait. The pack includes 16 lifestyle traits. Now, let's address one of the biggest flops of the year, the only game pack released in 2020 that had EA trying to merge two very hot-headed communities, The Sims players and Star Wars fans, just to achieve the surprising result of pissing off both groups all at once. Journey to Batuu was released on September and focused on the distant planet of Batuu, where the player can participate in missions, collect artifacts, engage in lightsaber duels, and obtain droids. The pack includes a new destination world, Batuu. It's a desert planet in the distant Star Wars galaxy in a star system with 3 suns and 2 moons. To visit, Sims will have to vacation there or wait for a phone call from a friend. The player will choose to align themselves with up to 2 of the 3 factions: Scoundrel, First Order, or Resistance. To do so, missions have to be performed for a specific faction. Upon successful completion of the mission, the Sims' influence towards the faction will increase, eventually becoming a member of that faction. According to the Sims Wiki, Journey to Batuu received many puzzled and negative reactions since its announcement on the nature of it promoting a major international franchise that doesn't have many connection towards the Sims franchise beforehand. The trailers for this game pack are the most disliked trailers in the Sims official channel on YouTube, beating the trailer for The Sims 4 My First Pet Stuff for number of dislikes, the latter having been deleted. Also, lightsabers can't be used outside of sparring and training. Also, there is no inclusion of the Force. Damn, but hey, at least this year we also got a stuff pack about knitting, so I guess that cheered us all up, right? Even if I know not many Sims players actually purchased Journey to Batuu, guilty. Let's take a look at the total price count, including all titles that were released in 2020. 119.95. Not only did the arrival of the 20s solidify the idea that The Sims 4 is here to stay a little bit longer than we expected, but with 2021, Sims players got to meet yet another new type of content pack for The Sims 4, Kits. For the convenient price tag of $4.99, kits are less than a stuff pack and more than nothing. Right at the beginning of this weird decade, EA decided in fact to join the ship almost all big companies and corporations have embarked on. The one where instead of increasing the quality of the highest price tier of service or products companies provide, they create a lower than low one. This clearly helps them making more money, one, because it doesn't require for them to elevate the quality of higher price range products, and two, because they can overcharge the lower tier they have. A win-win for them, a lose-lose for the consumer. And this phenomenon is no different for The Sims 4, because the arrival of kits allows EA to cut short even further on both the content included in these kits, but also to offer even less content or less quality in the higher priced products like expansion packs. As we will see, the period that spans between 2021 and 2024 sees the arrival of a ton of kits, but also the end, in my opinion, of good packs, with Cottage Living and Werewolves being the last good expansion and game packs released to date. Cottage Living is the only expansion pack released in 2021, and I feel it's also the last criticism-free expansion pack until now. Cottage Living came out almost bugs-free and provided a good addition to the gameplay with the new beautiful world, Hanford-on-Bagley, and new gameplay features dedicated to life in the countryside. We also got more animals that were probably originally scrapped out from cats and dogs, namely chickens, cows, llamas, foxes, birds, and rabbits. 2021 is also the year of release of an awaited game pack, Dream Home Decorator, a pack that got many so excited, not only because of the gameplay elements of it, but also because it came loaded with some good create a sim and build and buy objects. However, Dream Home Decorator unfortunately remains very cursed, being a pack that kept becoming more and more filled with bugs as time progressed, to the point of being almost unplayable in 2024. Talking about game packs that were unplayable, in 2021, Spa Day got some attention by the team and received a refresh, which included a free update for players who had already purchased it. The refresh added more content, including a new trait, 3 new aspirations, manicures, pedicures, and allowing children to participate in yoga and meditation. It only took the team 6 years to make these new changes. We can't complain, right? 2021 also saw the arrival of one of the last stuff packs for the franchise, Paranormal Stuff Pack, and the introduction of not 1, not 2, but 5 kits. Like I mentioned before, kits are available at the lowest price tag and provide a bunch of either create a sim or build and buy items. 1 expansion pack, 1 game pack, 1 stuff pack, and 5 kits. How much is our The Sims 4 bill for 2021? $94.92. Wow, so far 2021 is the cheapest year in terms of releases, probably due to the presence of those kits for $4.99 only. Well, I guess EA noticed this as well and decided to get their kits team on turbo for the upcoming years, because if you thought 5 kits were way too many in 2021, fasten your seatbelts. 2022 will almost double that number. From February to November 2022, EA dropped 8 new kits. 3 of them focused on Create a Sim and 5 for Build and Buy mode. But no, they didn't hold back with releasing other new content, although the Controversies were not missing, especially when it comes to their very first game pack of the year. My Wedding Stories was supposed to be released on February 2022 everywhere but Russia. Upon the game's announcement, a statement by EA was released released which announced that My Wedding Stories would not be available for sale in Russia due to its censorship laws against the LGBTQIA+ community. This caused the hashtag Weddings for Russia to trend on social media, as it was used by the Sims community to petition EA to reverse its decision. On February the 16th, EA released a statement in which they apologized for their initial decision and also announced that the pack would be releasing unaltered and unchanged in Russia. This back and forth, however, resulted in the pack being delayed until February the 23rd. Unfortunately though, a week later, on March the 4th, EA stopped selling the entirety of The Sims and other EA titles in Russia due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But honey, this was not the only controversy that stained the Wedding Stories pack. Upon its delayed release, the pack displayed several bugs and was essentially not functional, requiring several updates in order to function properly. Is the pack working properly today in 2024? Not really. Weddings, an event that is so beloved by many players, is still glitchy, and the game pack wedding interface became so problematic that later on, the team had to patch in the possibility to skip the wedding event from My Wedding Stories and manually select the planning event as per base game. Fortunately though, the next game on the pipeline brought a little less problems to players that found themselves enjoying the world of werewolves. The game pack was released on June the 16th, 2022 on all platforms. The pack reintroduced the werewolf life state to the game in a similar manner to The Sims 2 Pets and The Sims 3 Supernatural. It also added the new world of Moonwood Mill. The world contains only a single neighborhood with 5 lots and is nestled in the forest with a single river running through it. It's a quiet town with the forest's industrial aesthetic centered around the core theme of a disbanded lumber industry. The pack also introduced body scars available in Create a Sim, the Underground, a network of tunnels that can be explored to discover secrets and shortcuts, unique abilities to unlock like running on all fours, immortality, and lunar resistance, and unique events focused on werewolves. The pack gained overall positive reviews from players that found the gameplay very rich and exciting. However, there is a common point of criticism, and according to the Sims Wiki, many have cited overall uneasiness due to the fact that the appearance of werewolves in The Sims 4 are said by many to highly resemble furries, a subculture devoted to anthropomorphic animal characters. But furries aside, it's undeniable that werewolves remains the positive highlight of the year, as the July release, being the only expansion pack for this year, had Simmers very excited to then leave them very disappointed. When High School Years was first announced, everything about it looked more than awesome. The interest in teens, which seemed to have been disregarded until now, and an active playable high school. I mean, if you're a family player, when you first watched the trailer of High School Years, it probably sounded like sweet, sweet music to your ears. I see you. Same here, to be honest. Everything from the expansion's marketing to the pre-announced content and features sounded really good. So good that many players didn't even mind paying the full expansion pack price tag to get it. And yeah, it's not that it fully disappointed us or that it came out completely broken, but this pack was a big case of fake advertisement. What was shown in the trailer and previews of the pack didn't quite look like the final in-game version. Within the high school premises, there isn't much to do apart from attending classes by sitting and listening, or like prank the whiteboard. Teens barely have time to do anything else, as it takes them ages to go from one side to the other of the high school. After-school activities are not really engaging, and the local teens populating system doesn't work really well. Everyone looks like an adult, and the world that shipped with the pack is constantly dead. Like, I was so into the little pier with the rides they placed in this world, but every single time my Sims traveled there, it was just incredibly empty. Check for 2022, please. 119.89. In 2023, The Sims 4 is almost ready to celebrate its 10th anniversary, and if you're wondering, but hey, what about The Sims 5? We've been enduring The Sims 4 for almost 10 years. You're absolutely right. That's why before sliding into 2023, I want to leave some space and talk about Project Rene. Project Rene is the code name for the next generation of the Sims franchise, which is speculated, but not confirmed, to be The Sims 5. Officially teased by EA and Maxis during the Behind the Sims Summit in October 2022, Project Rene's focus seems to be collaboration. Players will be able to play together and share their creations seamlessly across different platforms, including PC and mobile. Project Rene is also expected to take customization to a new level. The early previews showed advanced object customization, including the ability to modify individual components of furniture like patterns, colors, and shapes. While no specific gameplay details were fully fleshed out, Maxis indicated that Project Rene will evolve the core gameplay of The Sims, focusing on the creativity, customization, and stories that players have loved for years. The game aims to be both familiar and new, blending traditional Sims mechanics with innovative features. There are indications that Project Rene might adopt a live service model where the game is continuously updated with new content, features, and expansions over time, rather than releasing as a one-time purchase with standalone expansions. To be honest with you, after researching so much on the pre-release stage of The Sims 4, I am kind of getting the chills with the expectations set on Project Rene, as we don't want another Project Olympus debacle. But to be even more honest, the information that was shared back in 2022 was about everything the community got to know about Miss Rene, as to this day, there haven't been any news apart from speculations and rumors. So yeah, we're going to explore The Sims 4 timeline for 2023 and 2024, keeping in mind that the future of the franchise seems to be on hold. Is The Sims 4 going to continue forever? What will The Sims 5 look like? Those questions, unfortunately, have yet to be answered. However, if the question is, how many kits were released in 2023? I've got you covered, baby! It's 8! Exactly as the previous year, with 5 kits dedicated to build and buy mode and 3 with create a sim items. The big titles of the year were 2 new expansion packs, Growing Together, released on March, and Horse Ranch, launched on July. Cause if you've been paying attention during this video, you probably already know that by 2023, we hadn't had enough packs about either family or animals. Yet here we are, another overhaul to Family Dynamics pack that also shipped with a new world and a new life stage, Infants, because EA wanted to prove all players once again that it's just impossible to create an expansion pack as good as Generations was to The Sims 3. Sure, Growing Together is not that bad to play with, it's just that we've reached a point where family gameplay has been broken down into so many pieces that 1. It's hard for these pieces not to clash when we have them all, and 2. It's hard to be excited about them. For instance, the new Infant life stage sounded so good on paper, but again, to this day, interactions with adult Sims and infants are filled with bugs and just make you want to skip that life stage completely. And I think that the same can be said about Horse Ranch. It has some positive aspects, and finally it gave the horse girlies their so awaited horses and ranches, but couldn't horses be in Cats and Dogs? Couldn't horses be in Cottage Living? Or at this point, did this really have to be an expansion pack? Also, I don't know if you've seen these examples in your game, but how funny is it when the game randomizes households and you have like a full family of 5 Sims living in an apartment in San Myshuno with 3 horses. I think 2023 only stuff pack Chef Hustle gets an honorable mention as it looks like something EA could have easily sold us as a game pack if game packs still existed, but didn't, while still delivering enough content both in terms of gameplay and items, and I think it remains to this day a fan favorite. So how much for these 2 expansion packs, 1 stuff pack and 8 kits? 129.89. As per today, The Sims 4 10th anniversary, we find ourselves with 6 new kits having been released during this year already. Also, February saw the arrival of another stuff pack, Jewel's Creations, while July welcomed the 15th, yeah, I am not joking, expansion pack called Lovestruck. I guess that having ran out of topics to add to our game as expansion packs, EA has decided to just sell us love as a concept. 1 decade after the game originally came out, we're here spending $39.99 on dates and turn-ons and turn-offs. I know that there has been some speculation on the upcoming pack being something that has to do with death or with funerals, and I mean, it makes sense at this point. It would even make more sense if it marketed the end of this specific title of the franchise, not because I want The Sims 4 to disappear or to be discontinued, but because after walking through the length of this game's history, I feel The Sims 4 should be laid to rest in peace once and for all. The current status of the game looks like what a multi-layered cake would look like if I was the one baking it, you know? The bottom layer looked messy from the get-go. There's no point in continuing to build up when she just looks so unstable. On May 2024, EA announced the creation of a dedicated task force put together with the aim of addressing and fixing the most critical bugs players were experiencing with The Sims 4. By the time I'm writing this video, it's August and we're not hearing much about the team's progress, nor are we seeing significant improvements to the game, because in my opinion, the best improvement to The Sims 4 right now is to stop adding content to it, work on a final patch that actually does address the most critical issues in order to finally move on to a better, brighter future for the franchise, or to The Sims 2 Remastered. I don't know, you tell me, EA, I'd take any at this point. But before we move on to my final thoughts and conclusions on this long journey through The Sims 4 decade of lifetime, let's just check how much we've theoretically spent so far in 2024. We purchased all titles that were released, kits included. 79.92. Not bad, right? I bet EA already has something in store for the upcoming months just to bring that total above 100. Right at the beginning of this video, I was hoping for our objective to be to answer the question, has The Sims 4, during its very long run, proved itself to be a game worth of our time and money? So I feel that to have a response to this question, we'll need to sum up all the totals we collected as we reminisce this game's history year by year. Our final amount, excluding the price of base game as The Sims 4 became free to play in 2022, is $1,174.26. This is how much many of us have invested in this game by purchasing its titles upon release or for full price. On average, we've all spent more than 100 coins each year to get access to new content, with the hope it could simply make our experience better, richer, more enjoyable. I feel that there have been definitely some good packs made by great ideas and good execution, but it's simply impossible to turn the other side when it comes to the letdowns and the content that just wasn't enough. The amount of packs for The Sims 4 is currently reaching the number 80, while in comparison, The Sims 3 ended its ride with 20 packs in total and The Sims 2 with 18. So yeah, DLCs and additional content locked behind a paywall has always been present in the Sims franchise, but we have to highlight how The Sims 4 is now 10 years old, more than double the lifespan of its predecessors. The fact that EA has kept this game going for so long, regardless of its structural flaws, knowing that with more and more new content loaded in, the game's performance would inevitably get worse and worse, is unfair, to use a kind word. I don't think The Sims 4 is not worth of our money and time because it's just so bad. I think it's not worth of it because EA has been using it as a shield, an excuse to avoid moving on with this franchise. A franchise that is part of a video game genre it currently leads, with little to no competition throughout the years. I think The Sims 4 has given me many hours of valuable gameplay and that I did find entertainment and joy with many of the packs I purchased. And I also truly believe that the people that work for the success of the game did have some good, innovative ideas and intentions and absolutely wanted the best for the project they were working on. The unfortunate piece of the puzzle for The Sims 4 are the hands of who's putting that puzzle together. EA's way of working and continuous hunger for profit is what is the most visible to me, right after experiencing this throwback from 2014 to today. It's a matter of choices. They could have chosen to reduce the amount of DLCs and packs in order to make different features work together on the shaky grounds of the Sims 4 base game. They could have chosen to invest in the right engine, team, coding back in 2019 when the game was reaching its expected expiration date. They could have chosen to avoid fake advertisement in their previews for new packs and maybe focus on fewer features that could actually work. There's a list of many choices EA could have picked differently to honor the legacy of a franchise that has ruled its own genre for more than 3 decades. What I can hope for the next 10 years is for better choices that maybe will give us players and loyal community the rewarding Sims experience of the future we all deserve.